is a good personality development, communication plays a vital role in boosting one's personality. So what are communication skills? Now what am I doing is speaking. So communication skills are also known as language skills. Language skills are also known as communication skills. What does communication comprise of? The 4 skills: listening, speaking, reading and writing. Whatever be the status of English, first, second or a foreign language, a knowledge of the 4 skills, that is listening, speaking, reading and writing, are essential for communication. In a native or first language situation, a child learns from a very early age to respond to sounds and tunes in his or her native tongue, which their elders habitually use in talking to them. In due course, he or she begins to imitate recurrent sound patterns which they have become familiar. In other words, a child begins to make use of speech. This natural acquisition of language is lacking in a non-native situation. So, let's look at the 4 skills. Of the 4 skills of language, capital L, S, R, W, the most important skill is listening, followed by speaking. Listening involves concentration and requires a proper mindset free from distraction. One should not allow one's thoughts to wander while listening to a tape recorder message or conversation. Listening requires an active speaker and a passive listener. By passive listener, I mean a silent person. Communication gets distorted when a listener fails to capture the message. Listening involves total concentration of body, mind, soul and spirit. Listening is then followed by speaking. Speaking is an art. Listening and speaking are interrelated and interdependent. So, listening and reading are receptive skills, whereas speaking and writing are productive skills. I like to quote that the ability to speak depends upon the ability to listen well. I want to give some listening tips which would be beneficial in our everyday life. Listening tips. The first and foremost is listen carefully without getting distracted. The distraction can be due to external noise or internal thoughts. 2. Do not allow your mind to wander or indulge in some other imaginations. 3. Be very attentive and try to analyze what the speaker is saying. 4. Keep your mind free from worries, tensions and anxieties while you are listening. That will distract you from listening. 5. Maintain a calm, composed attitude and try to comprehend what the speaker says. Comprehend means to understand. Next, 6th point is maintain a notebook and jot down the important points. These days you have your devices, all the mobile phones, you can make notes out of it. 7th one, follow sequencing. What is sequencing? In order. The communication thread while listening and later go through what you have noted down. These are some of the listening tips which one has to follow to be a good listener. Next we come to the next skill, that is speaking. Listening is over. Speaking tips. So the first one is be direct and maintain eye contact with the person with whom you are speaking to. Avoid eye contact untruthful. In other words, if you don't maintain eye contact, then you are not addressing the person whom you are talking to, and that person will take it as an offense. Second one, recount or reflect what the other person says. In other words, respect others' sentiments. Look out for concepts and do not concentrate on facts. Third one, the posture. Sit erect. Do not bend or sulk on the table while speaking. Do not rest your hands on the table but keep it crossed. The fourth tip is, do not take long pauses or silence, as it gives the impression that she has not prepared well, or it will cause the other person to speak. That will put one in a very awkward situation. The fifth tip is, do not chew nails while speaking, as it gives the impression of insecurity. Very important. Sixth one, do not fidget or put your hands into your pocket, as it indicates nervousness. The seventh one is, avoid redundancy. What do you mean by redundancy? Repetition of words, phrases and sentences while speaking. It exhibits ignorance. It gives the impression that the person has not prepared well and is ignorant of what he or she is speaking. The eighth one is, do not fold your hands while speaking, as it is treated as judgmental, which is treated as a serious offense. The ninth tip is, prepare well for the speech. Practice in front of the mirror. The mirror will show your drawbacks, and accordingly you can rectify them. But that is how you should practice. The mirror will show you exactly what you are. It will point out your mistakes. So I want to give a quote that is personal, which says, practice makes a person perfect. What are the do's of speaking? Practice by yourself with someone else watching you. It can be friends, roommates, parents, etc. For this kind of practice will give you the experience of speaking in front of people. The second do's is, use engaging visuals. Visuals are not just about PowerPoint or pictures. They can be charts, graphs, table objects, videos, maps, etc. Anything that helps to enhance a certain portion of one's speech. The other do's is, move to the other side of the room when transitioning from main point to main point. Move toward the audience when you want to emphasize a certain phrase or idea. Use gestures when you want to stress a particular concept. Do not be stranded in one place, keep moving. Then the next one is, speak conversationally as you would if there were only one or two people in the room instead of 30, 50 or even more. In fact, in other words, be relaxed and talk in a more friendly, amiable manner. Next, know the equipment or the tools you will be using. If you are unfamiliar with your speaking environment, arrive early before time and practice using the equipment before your presentation. As I earlier said, practice makes a person perfect. Next, realize you are not alone. Everyone has some level of anxiety before speaking. A stage fear, unable to comprehend, unable to speak. This is perfectly natural. As the saying goes, it is not all about getting rid of the butterflies. It's about making the butterflies fly in formation. That's what you have to follow about the speaking tips. The next skill is reading skill. As I told you, listening and reading are receptive skills. Speaking and writing are productive skills. Yes, reading tips. Reading is a great habit that can change human life significantly. It can entertain us, amuse us and enrich us with knowledge and experiences narrated. There are some reading techniques which, if mastered at a growing stage, can help us be better and far more comprehensive readers. These skills might not be learned as right theories or rules, but if understood well, once they can definitely enhance the reading skills and increase the quantity of output that one gets after reading. The following are the 7 techniques, styles of reading used in different situations. Let's look at each and every one of them. The first one is technique is scanning. What do you mean by scanning? Scanning through the text is a reading strategy that is used for getting some specific points by looking at the whole text. The readers can skim through the summary or the beginning and ending chapters of that book. This is all about scanning. The next technique is skimming. This reading technique is used for getting the gist of the whole text lead. We generally use this style at the time of reading newspaper or magazine. We read quickly to get the main points and skip over the detail. The third technique is active reading style. Active reading aims to get an in-depth understanding of the text. Under this technique, the reader is actively involved with the text while reading it. The fourth technique is detail reading. This technique is used for extracting information from the whole text. Under this style, we read every word for understanding the meaning of the text. In this careful reading, we can skim the text first for getting a general idea and then go back to read in detail. We can use a dictionary to find the meaning of every unfamiliar word. Speed reading is actually a combination of various reading methods. The aim of speed reading is basically to increase the reading speed without compromising the understanding of the text reading. Some of the strategies used in speed reading are as follows. 1. Identifying words without focusing on each letter. 2. Not to sounding out all words. 3. Not sub-vocalizing some phrases. 4. Spending less time on some phrases than others. 5. Skimming small sections, etc. The next one style is structure, proposition, evaluation. This is an interesting reading technique suggested by Mortimer Adler in his book How to Read a Book. This reading technique is mainly applicable to non-fiction writing. This style suggests reading as per the three following patterns. Let us look at them. Studying the structure of the work. Next, studying the logical propositions made and organized into chains of inference. 3. Evaluation of the merits of the arguments and conclusions. The seventh technique, reading technique, is this method aims at facilitating a clear understanding of the text that the reader would be able to teach whatever he or she has learned during the process of reading. This process involves 7 steps. Let's have a quick look at them. First one is survey. Survey involves getting a quick idea on the whole writing piece. Example, reading the introduction or summary of a book will be enough to get an idea of that book. 2. Question. We are not just reading the words or looking at the words, but are actually trying to make out the underlying meaning of the text. So we should frame questions in our mind and look for the answers while reading the text. 3. Read. The reader should read selectively if they are looking for anything specific. 4. Recite. The reader should answer the questions in his own words using only the keywords that are required to sum up the complete idea. It's not related to reciting a poem. 5th one, review. The reader should review the entire things in his mind. The 6th one is extensive reading. What do you mean by that? Extensive reading is considered as being reading rapidly. The readers read books after books. Its attention is paid to the meaning of the text itself, not the language. The purpose of extensive reading is for pleasure and information. It is also termed as supplementary reading. And the last one is intensive kind of reading. What do you mean by that? Intensive reading means that the readers take a text, study it line by line and without missing anything, and refer at every point to the dictionary about the grammar of the text itself. So, in conclusion, reading is the basic foundation on which academic skills of individuals are brought to know the importance of reading. It is given the top priority in primary education. Most of the subjects taught to us are based on a simple concept, that is, read, understand, analyze, synthesize and get information. I would want to end this reading tips with a quote: reading is a true measure of a person's success in academics. And the last skill is writing. Let's look at writing tips. The first one, writing involves a pen, paper and thoughts. Always begin with the prologue, introduction, content body and the epilogue, conclusion. 2. Begin with a capital letter and end with a full stop. 3. Use capitalization and punctuation wherever necessary. Write legibly, that is clearly, with a good handwriting. 4. Write in paragraphs. Example, a lengthy essay can be split into 5 to 7 paragraphs. 5th one, use figures of speech, literary devices and idiomatic phrases in the right context. Before using these expressions, it is important first to know its meaning and then write. 6th one, write in simple sentences first. Later on, you can go to complex sentences provided it makes sense and you the meaning. 7th one, whenever you write any matter, always have a topical sentence. A topical sentence highlights the entire gist of your writing. For example, honesty is the best policy. 8th one, avoid spelling mistakes, which is considered as a serious error. So, grammatical or structural errors to be avoided, and again redundancy, repetition while writing. Always write in a sequence. Well, these are some of the writing tips which everyone should follow while writing. So, as I said, all the 4 communication skills are equally important, starting with listening, speaking, reading and writing. And these skills have to be followed and practiced, which is also will boost your morale and it will add a feather in your cap, and it will really add weightage for your personality development. Thank you viewers, thank you so much, and it's my privilege to come and share these my views on personality development. Yes, I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you once again. Thank you so much. Thank you.